When you decide who it is that you want to be, which qualities you want to be true of who you are, start to live in a way that is consistent with those aspirational values. Father Mike Schmitz has spoken on identity, and he suggests the following challenges. Say to yourself, I'm the kind of person who, and then prove it to yourself by small wins. Remind yourself of who you are with small steps of progress. What helps is to keep your identity at the heart of your resolution. Do you want to be a person who runs? Tell yourself that you're the kind of person who runs and moves. You're the kind of person who chooses to buy a pedometer. You're the kind of person who decides to walk 50 more steps every day. Father Mike went on to say that you can be quick to choose something too small as your identity, and then you'll soon find it fails to be enough. You might be an athlete, or a law school student, or an engineer, or a nurse. That's how you answer the question, who am I? But that isn't enough. An identity-based habit is too small a thing. It leads to too small of an identity. When we don't know who we are quick to attach ourselves to something that doesn't make us feel so untethered. But our starting point has to be something bigger, like being a beloved child of God. Once that's established, we then figure out what kind of a child of God we want to be. Do we want to be one that prays? Who knows how to recognize her Father's voice? Who can figure out what her Father wants her to do? Then we need to develop habits that give us small wins every day. And each small win takes us closer to habits that are making us into a certain kind of person. This is where the trellis comes in. Imagine I'm a gardener who wants to grow tomatoes, cucumbers, or beans. If I fail to use a trellis, I'm going to have some problems because I haven't taken the nature of these vegetables into account. These vegetables grow on a vine, and unlike a tree, a vine can't support itself. A trellis is needed to provide support and to keep the plants off the ground. And this minimizes disease. It helps spread out the plant for more sun exposure, and it helps the gardener to be able to prune well. The same is true in our lives. We need support, habits, and accountability if we're going to thrive. And a trellis for our spiritual lives can supply all three of those things. Another way of describing a trellis is a rule of life that gives a structure to our habits. And this helps us to go from good intentions to clear goals and benchmarks that help our desires become reality. In his excellent book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, John Mark Comer describes the trellis in this way. He says that the word rule comes from the Latin word regula, which literally means a straight piece of wood. So think of a ruler. But it was also used for a trellis. So think about Jesus' teaching on abiding in the vine from John 15. This is one of the most important teachings on emotional health and spiritual life. And now think about a pleasant wine tasting memory. What is underneath every thriving vine? A trellis. It's a structure to hold up the vine so it can grow and bear fruit. So what a trellis is to a vine, a rule of life is to abiding. It's a structure, in this case, a schedule and a set of practices that can set up abiding as the central pursuit of your life. If a vine doesn't have a trellis, it will die. And if your life with Jesus doesn't have some kind of structure to facilitate health and growth, it will wither away. Following Jesus has to make it onto your schedule and into your practices, or it will simply never happen. So there are three things that are going to greatly enhance your ability to build and use a trellis: stillness, silence, and solitude. And you're going to have to fight for these three things because most of life surrounds us with the opposite. And the following are some good questions to help you discern if you are ready to construct a trellis for your life, a commitment to a schedule and practices which will help you to live out of your true identity as a beloved daughter of God. Are you willing to disconnect from your phone and screens for a set period of time each day in order to sit in stillness with God? Are you willing to turn off the noise and enter into silence so you can hear God's voice? Will you designate a quiet place in your home where you can spend time in solitude? Will you vocalize your needs, asking loved ones to give you the gift of uninterrupted time? If you feel ready to quiet your heart and spend some time in self-reflection, I encourage you to use the self-reflection questions and the spiritual game plan, which are both going to be found attached here. And both of these tools are going to help you to pay attention to the areas in your life where God is calling you to grow and to change. These are intended to challenge you to set clear goals in order to move forward. But just to be clear, the objective is not behavior modification. What God is after is your heart. In John 15:4, Jesus said, "Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me." The word abide means to be present, to remain, to tarry, to endure. And the spiritual game plan is meant to help you do just that, to spend intentional quality time with the one who loves you like no other.